Hello, Valley View Vikings. This is Mrs. Blackstone. With permission from Scholastic, we are reading from Louis Sachar's Sideways Stories from Wayside School. We are on chapter 4 today, and we are going to be learning about Sharie. Sharie is our character. Take a look at her picture. Think about chapter 3. Remember, we just learned about Joe and how he learned to count his hair. Do you remember how he learned to count his hair? Yes, you're right. He learned to count his hair from Mrs. Jules teaching him how to count the wrong way and the right way. And we're still not sure if Joe really knows how to count or not. Well, let's look at Sharie. What is she wearing? Does she look like she's dressed for anything specific? Do you think that she's ready to go swimming in the summer? What do you think she's getting ready to do? To me, all of that white stuff around her face looks like fur from a coat. So I'm thinking maybe she is going somewhere cold. I don't know. What else is she doing? What is she doing with her body? Her hands are under her. What's her eyes? Take a look at her eyes. Yeah, it looks like she's sleeping. You're right. All right, let's read together and find out about Sharie. Sharie had long eyelashes. She weighed only 49 pounds. She always wore a big red and blue overcoat with a hood. The overcoat weighed 35 pounds. The red part weighed 15 pounds, the blue part weighed 15 pounds, and the hood weighed 5 pounds. Her eyelashes weighed 1.5 pounds. She sat next to the window in Mrs. Jules' class. She spent a lot of time just staring out the window. Mrs. Jules didn't mind. Mrs. Jules said that a lot of people learn best when they stare out a window. Sharie often fell asleep in class. Mrs. Jules didn't mind that either. She said that a lot of people do their best learning when they are asleep. Do you do your best learning when you're asleep? I don't know. Mrs. Jules seems to me like she's a little bit of an odd duck when it comes to a teacher. Sharie spent all of her time either looking out the window or sleeping. Mrs. Jules thought that she was the best student in the class. One afternoon, it was very hot. All of the windows were open, yet Sharie still wore her red and blue overcoat. The heat made her very tired. Mrs. Jules was teaching arithmetic. Sharie pulled the hood over her face, buried herself in the coat, and went to sleep. "Mrs. Jules," said Kathy, "Sharie's asleep." "That's good," said Mrs. Jules. "She must be learning something new." Mrs. Jules continued with the lesson. Sharie began to snore. "Mrs. Jules, Sharie's snoring," said Kathy. "Yes, I can hear her," said Mrs. Jules. "She must be learning an awful lot today. I wish the rest of you could be just like her." Sharie began to toss and turn. She flopped over on top of her desk and then rolled over on top of Kathy's desk. Then she rolled back the other way. Kathy screamed. Sharie rolled out the window. She was still sound asleep. As you know, Mrs. Jules' class was on the 30th story of Wayside School, so Sharie had a long way to go. After she had fallen 10 stories, Sharie woke up. She looked around. She was confused. She wasn't in Mrs. Jules' class, and she wasn't at home in bed. She couldn't figure out where she was. She yawned, pulled the hood back over her eyes, and went back to sleep. By that time, she had fallen another 10 stories. Wayside School had an exceptionally large playground. Louis, the yard teacher, was way over on the other side of it when he happened to see Sharie fall out of the window. He ducked under the volleyball net, hurtled past the kickball field, hopped over the hopscotch court, climbed through the monkey bars, sped across the grass, and caught Sharie just before she hit the ground. The people in Mrs. Jules' class cheered. Sharie woke up in Louis's arms. "Darn it, Louis," she said. "What did you go and wake me up for?" "I'm sorry, Sharie," said Louis. I'm sorry, Sharie repeated. "Is that all you could say? I was having a wonderful dream until you woke me up. You're always bothering me, Louis. I can't stand it." She laughed and hugged him around the neck. Louis carried her back up 30 flights of stairs to Mrs. Jules' room. That evening, When Sharie went to bed, she was unable to fall asleep. She just wasn't tired. I have to wonder, why is Sharie maybe not tired? Huh? What do you think? So do you think that Sharie is being a super duper awesome student by sleeping in class? And do you think that maybe she's very, very, very lucky that Lewis was able to get to her very quickly while she was falling out the window? Do you think that that could happen in real life? I don't know. What do you think? All right. We will see you next time.